Today we're discussing Unit 10, Section 4, Cold War. Cold War was actually not a war, it was a war of words. A war of words between the Soviet Union and the United States. The attempt was by the United States to contain Soviet expansion in Europe. When we say this, we're talking about countries such as Bulgaria, Romania. I like to refer to them as the YA countries. They're countries that end in the YA sound, the IA sound. They're the Eastern European countries. Immediately after World War II, led by Joseph Stalin, the Soviet Union tried to take over these Eastern European countries. This has become known as the Cold War. And from the map that you see here, you can see just how far the Soviet Union was successful in expanding, not just in their own country, but also all of these areas right here that you see in Eastern Europe that became known as the satellite countries to the Soviet Union. The United States did attempt to stop this Soviet expansion with a third doctrine. The first doctrine we talked about in U.S. history was the Monroe Doctrine, and then we talked about the Roosevelt Corollary, and now it's the Truman Doctrine. The Truman Doctrine was instituted by Harry S. Truman, who replaced Franklin Delano Roosevelt upon his death in Warm Springs. He was the president at the end of World War II. And this is the world as he saw when he became president. The countries that you see in pink are controlled by the United States, Great Britain, France, the Western European allies, and the countries that you see here in green are satellite countries of the Soviet Union. This is where Truman wants to stop Soviet expansion. Specifically, his plan was called the Marshall Plan by Secretary of State George Marshall. Provided $400 million to countries in Greece and Turkey, but also lots and lots of money to countries and other countries in Western Europe. The whole idea is to encourage, do different than the Allies had done after World War I. After World War I, they had charged the Germans a lot of money called reparations after World War I. After World War II, we wanted to give Western Europe, including the Germans, the supplies they needed to rebuild their countries and not adopt communists or not dictators like had been done after World War I. This map shows the countries that received aid through the Marshall Plan, and they're signified in gray. Specifically, the United States gave $400 million to the countries of Greece and Turkey. And the purpose behind this is Greece and Turkey is located in southern Asia, is to stop Soviet expansion into the Middle East, where all the oil is located. The way to do this, for only the second time in United States history, the United States joined a military defense alliance. During the Revolutionary War, the United States joined an alliance with France in order to defeat Great Britain. This time, the United States is going to, along with Great Britain and France, are going to form a military alliance of Western European countries that became known as NATO. NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. We are still members of this organization today. This concludes the lesson on Unit 10, Section 4, the Cold War and Soviet expansion.